collocate differently. You drum up business and you can drum up support, but you only whip up support, or you could whip up someone into a frenzy. He whipped him up into a frenzy. Whip up someone into a frenzy. It means get them really excited so that they get so carried away that they're uncontrollable. Whip someone into a frenzy. Or whip up someone into a frenzy. I think both are possible there. You could whip someone into a frenzy or whip up someone into a frenzy. And you should remember that whip is literally that horrible device that people used a long time ago for torture, or, I mean, you'd whip your slaves or something like that, and it's a horrible thing, and it hurts people. But here it can be used positively, because if you whip up support, the idea is that you're whipping people, just like drumming people into following you or into supporting you. Okay, if you dumb down a test, you make it much simpler and easier than it is. You don't make it so difficult, so hard. And I've put water down here, which is going to be coming again down here. But water down means to dilute. If somebody waters down your whiskey, they dilute your whiskey with a load of water. And you could say the test has been dumbed down, it's been made easier. Or you could even say the subject has been watered down, the exam has been watered down. And it also means it has been made easier, simpler. So water down means to dilute, but it also means to make easier, like dumb down, very often used in education. Okay, if you give yourself up, you surrender. I think that's the sense that I need it here. You can give yourself up, you surrender yourself. But if you give up smoking or give up drinking, then you stop those bad habits. You cut them out. As we'll see over here, cut out is the same as give up. In that sense, anyway, of cut out smoking, cut out drinking, give up. If you hold out for something, this can have a couple of different meanings. If you say England are holding out for a draw, it means that they are hoping for a draw. That's the minimum they need maybe to get through into the next round. But it has a second meaning. It could mean survive. So if you say, I don't know, maybe there's a team of scientists in the Arctic, and unfortunately there's a problem, there's some kind of power cut and they're not able to communicate with the outside world and nobody can get to them, you might say something like this: they will be able to hold out for a week without any supplies, because we know that their food supplies and water supplies are enough to see them through 7 days. They're enough to last 7 days. So they will be able to hold out for 7 days. But you could use it with the military as well, meaning they'll be able to survive. So you might say that military unit which is in that area, perhaps they're under attack, perhaps they've been surrounded by enemy forces, and the general says they should be able to hold out for another 24 hours, but after that we're not sure they will, and they might die, or they might be attacked, they might be wiped out. It's another one which is on here somewhere, meaning destroyed completely, utterly annihilated. So to hold out could mean to survive, but it could also mean to hope for something at the minimum. Okay, if you are called up for military service, or you can just say he's been called up, it makes it clear that he's joined the army, and it's not necessarily from choice. If you join up, then that is your choice. It still means join the army. If you say he's joined up, you could even say he's signed up, although that's not quite so clear. But if you've been called up, they've asked you to join the military. But if you join up, you join the military. So both of them mean join the military in some kind of way. Now, we did bear out in bare phrasal verbs just a few days ago. So if you want to know more about this phrasal verb, you can watch that lesson, or you can type in bear out into Oxford Dictionary and you'll find far more examples than I'm going to give you in this lesson. So if you want examples, please go to Oxford, go to Cambridge, go to Merriam-Webster, and you'll find hundreds. Maybe not hundreds, but lots. So if the evidence bears out your alibi, it means that your alibi holds up. It means that it confirms, it validates, it verifies your alibi. So hopefully, if you are accused of some kind of terrible crime, hopefully the evidence will bear out your alibi, so that you are let off. You are, not punished for the crime. Well, not let off, in fact, but you're set free because you're not guilty. So remember that hold up also means bear out something, but it's intransitive. You say that your alibi holds up. You wouldn't say the evidence held up your alibi, but you would say your alibi holds up, or the evidence bears out my alibi. Okay, if you hush something up, you cover it up. Very similar, hush up, cover it up. To hush is shh, be quiet. And so you can see how hush up means exactly the same thing as cover up, but as a noun we'd only say a cover up. We wouldn't say a hush up. Whereas we can say a cover up, certainly. There are millions of cover ups in the newspapers every day. And a cover-up is a conspiracy, basically. It's when a group of people try to hide the truth. And so you can always read about cover-ups in the newspapers. Now, if someone papers over something, this is a very visual phrasal verb. I want you to imagine you're decorating your house, you're doing your house out in a Victorian style, and when you're doing this, you notice a few cracks, and you think, well, I could get some polyfiller, I could get some substance, some material which I could fill the cracks in with. I could put them in the cracks, or I could just put the wallpaper straight over the crack and no one will see the crack at all. So you've completely hidden the crack. Well, this phrasal verb is not just used in a literal sense like that, because you certainly can use it like that. He papered over the crack. It's also used for when somebody hides their mistakes. And or not just mistakes, but weaknesses, errors, disadvantages, something like that. If you're trying to cover up your mistakes or your errors or your disadvantages, then you're papering over the cracks. And so the government very often have to paper over the cracks because they've made a mistake, something like that, and they try and cover up their mistakes. They just try and paper over the mistakes and say everything's fine, don't worry, relax, it's all good, when actually, if you look behind the wallpaper, you'll see that there are a lot of cracks beneath. If you level with someone, or if somebody is on the level, we say he's on the level, and it means he's honest. He's straight, he's flat, he's honest. We associate flat and straight things and square things with honesty, whereas something crooked is very often dishonest. Something bent is very often criminal. And so when you level with someone, you tell the truth. You tell them exactly how things are. You are honest with them when you level with someone. So of course we all want people to level with us, to be honest. If you spy on someone, you watch them, and maybe you use some binoculars, maybe you use a telescope, who knows what you use, but you are spying on them. I think that's quite an easy one. Now, make out is very good. I want to deal here with make out that, but I'll quickly mention that make out can mean perceive. If you can't see the sign miles away, it's a foggy day, it's raining, you're trying to see what the sign says, but you're saying, no, I can't make out what that sign says. Or you're on the telephone, somebody's speaking very, very quietly, and you say, I'm sorry, I can't make out a word that you're saying. I can't make out anything. It means I can't hear you or I can't see you. That's one meaning of make out. But a second meaning of make out is pretend. It's a direct synonym of pretend. You can say he pretended to be a Frenchman, or he made out that he was a Frenchman. Or you could say he pretended to be a doctor, or he made out that he was a doctor. So make out is a synonym of pretend as well. And it's this one could be used in a lot of different situations with a lot of different nouns. So it's well worth remembering. You'll see it again for sure. Now, if you let something out or blurt something out, you reveal something, especially this one. When you blurt something out, it sounds like you've revealed a secret that should have remained hidden. Something that should have been hushed up and should have been kept quiet has been blurted out. So I suppose when people drink too much, they very often blurt things out that they regret. But you can also say he let the secret out. He let the cat out the bag, or out of the bag if you prefer. It should have out of, but I think we very often drop that of. in out of phrasal verbs, like get out the car. Okay, if you dig